I'm so excited for this, guys. I am starting a new series. Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And before we get into today's video, I just want to do the usual. So my name's Amber. I upload beauty and true crime content. If they're the type of videos that you like to watch, then why not hit that subscribe button and come along and join our little family. And if you're already part of the family, then make sure that notification bell switched on just so you're notified of whenever I upload a video. Why not give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. And now we can get right into today's video. And I'm so excited for this, guys. I am starting a new series. True Crime Tuesdays have done so amazingly well. I'm still doing beauty, but I just want to do a little bit more true crime. And I have come up with the idea for a new series called Missing Mondays. And this is going to be the first case in that. Missing Mondays are going to be crime cases where people have disappeared, or like missing person cases. So the first case is a very, very infamous case in the UK, and it's actually one of the oldest running missing person cases in the UK as well, if not the oldest, I think, actually. So today, for my first Missing Mondays case, we're going to be talking about the disappearance of Mary Flanagan. So Mary Flanagan was a London teenager who disappeared from her West Ham home on New Year's Eve in 1959. She is actually notable for being the UK's longest missing person case. Let's see if we can get her found. Like, I love how people do these videos and it brings out fresh information. I know this is a very old case, but hopefully there's someone out there that knows something and it might give the family some peace as to where she is. Or they might even find her, which would be amazing. Mary was born on the 9th of June in 1943. She was born into a London Catholic family and she had sisters named Eileen and Brenda. She also had a brother who was called Kevin. They lived at Wallace Road in London at the time of her disappearance. Her father was from Winalot in County Durham and her mother was also called Mary. I know that sounds very wishy-washy, but it is a very old case and there's not a lot of information about the background of the family. So she went to Holbrook Road Secondary School, and at the time of her disappearance she was working at a large Tate and Lyle sugar refinery in Silvertown. She was known as a sugar girl. She also occasionally worked at an optician's in Stratford, as well as volunteering for the Blind Association. So on the 31st of December in 1959, Mary woke up late and she didn't plan to go to her shift at the Tate and Lyle factory. She had a change of heart as she remembered that the factory were actually throwing a big, massive New Year's Eve bash that night and she didn't want to miss it. So at 1 p.m. she kissed her family goodbye, which the family actually now look back at this and they describe it as very unusual and it was very out of character for her. So was she saying goodbye forever rather than just saying goodbye, I'll see you tonight? She also bizarrely asked her mother to watch her while she walked away through the alley nearby her home, and the last known sighting of her was approaching the West Ham tube station. So the following day, her family realised that she'd not come home the preceding evening. They went in her bedroom and her bed was empty. So Mr. and Mrs. Flanagan, her parents, decided that they were going to visit the sugar refinery in search of more information. Now, there was a shocking twist when they actually got to the sugar factory, and that was that their daughter hadn't been working there for a fortnight. She had gone unaccounted from work for at least 2 weeks and the family knew nothing about it. So Tate and Lyle had actually assumed that she wasn't very well and she was off sick, so they didn't proceed to ask where she was. So there was a search of the local area which was made by both locals and the police, and local newspapers did provide some publicity for the case. However, it was seen more as the typical teenage runaway. So apart from interviewing Mary's family, officers in the 60s would have relied on old-fashioned policing to find her, including putting up posters around the community, speaking to her family and friends and roaming the streets with her picture. Now you've got to understand this did take place in the 60s. Things were very different then. They didn't have all of the amazing technology that we have. So members of her family, discussing her disappearance in 2013, suggested that Mary may have a law with a man that she'd been seeing frequently in the last few weeks she was seen. He was supposedly an Irish immigrant and may have worked in the Merchant Navy, although police say that they've never been able to trace such a man. He was reportedly called Tom and undoubtedly existed under one name or another, so some people think that he maybe used an alias. And it was actually her father who had introduced Mary married to this Tom guy, and he was said to be in his early 20s at the time. Brenda, Mary's sister, actually spoke to the BBC and said he may have been Mary's fiance. Information on him is sparse, and he has always been described as being an Irish labour. Even his surname is uncertain. He is most commonly referred to as McGinty, although it could have also been McEntee or it could have been McGuinness. The Merchant Navy had no record of a Tom McGinty working in their service. Her family have suggested that she could have been pregnant and disappeared because of that. This is one of the most common theories around her disappearance. Well, there are two main theories. Number one is that she was possibly pregnant, and a girl of her age and at that sort of time, and her family being very Catholic and religious, it wouldn't have been acceptable. She could have been embarrassed and fled. Or the secondary reason being that she could have eloped with this guy. She just met him, fell for him and wanted to run away and elope together. Although it is known that one of Mary's last known interactions with her boyfriend was later reported by her sister Brenda as being a bitter argument. Mary thought that this McGinty guy was, or Tom as we should call him, he'd said he was living with his landlady, so he clearly made out he had his own, like he was paying rent for his own house, and she discovered that he was actually living still at home with his mother. And this lie had actually Brenda had explained that it had really distressed Mary, and they'd actually had this argument the day before she went missing, and she could hear the argument with raised voices, and Mary went to bed in tears, and she actually told her sisters that she planned to end the relationship with him. Mary was on police files and on their notice board until she was 21. The problem is that when she reached 21, she was the age of consent, so even if they found her, they couldn't bring her home because she's her own person. She's an adult now. She can do whatever she likes. Over the years, police did continue to check the national insurance database, but her national insurance number has never been used for any employment purposes. In 2013, on her 70th birthday, the Metropolitan Police and the local missing persons unit in Newham reopened her case for examination. The investigating officer described the case as a complete one-off. This is one of those disappearance cases where it is completely and utterly baffled police. It's been used as a massive example to show how much policing methods have changed over the years. It's gone from knocking on doors in the community to now accessing Facebook profiles. The efforts of the reactivated case were actually hampered by a flood at Plaistow police station, which destroyed all of the records. Investigators have tested DNA samples against 100 unidentified bodies in England, but none of them were Mary's. Police particularly appealed for information on Tom McGinty. In January 2017, the charity Missing People commissioned a new age processed image of Mary from the UK forensic artist Tim Wooden. To this day, Mary's sisters believe that she is still alive and that, you know, there is a chance that she might return home. Now, for my thoughts and theories on this, sometimes people genuinely go missing because they want to be missing. There doesn't seem to be, I mean, I know policing was very different back then, but there's not an awful lot that points to foul play, and for me, the suspiciousness of the giving her mum a kiss, which was out of character, and telling her to watch her when she walked away, it's almost as if she knew she wasn't going to come back. Now, whether that was because she was pregnant or whether she just felt like she wanted to fled, for me, the fact she'd not been going to work for 2 weeks, that suggests that she was maybe putting a plan into place to leave. That's just my personal preference of it. But anyway, regardless of what happened to Mary, I just hope if she did flee, and you know, she might be out there now, you never know, she might watch my video, I hope that she is happy, that she's had a lovely life, and I hope that everything's, you know, I just hope her family gets some peace. I hope everything, all is well in the world, basically. You know, we all want a happy ending, but I know it doesn't always happen. Anyway, guys, I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings on this case, and even better, if you have any extra information that I might have missed out, or any information that you think might be worth noting, then pop that in the comment box down below, and I shall see you in next week's Missing Monday. Thanks so much for watching. Mwah.